Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things ready through a common sense lens. And, well, it looks like HBO Max's new Harry Potter series out there might have found its Dumbledore, boys and girls. And obviously this is a series that I am cautiously optimistic. I really do hope that HBO, that Max specifically and Warner Brothers entirely can actually pull this off. Because I, for one, was not a big fan of the movies personally. I know a lot of people love them, and it was kind of their first introduction to Harry Potter. But as soon as, with all the big liberties that they took, actually just flat out the huge changes they made from the books to the movies, it just absolutely irritated me. I went and saw Goblet of Fire in the theater, and I remember watching there when Dumbledore got angry and yelled at Harry. I was done. I never went and saw another one of the movies in those theaters. I was so pissed off. I was just so angry about that. I was like, hey, Dumbledore is always in control in every single room. So I'm really, and then of course, no peeves, no peace, right? You got to have peeves in this stuff as well. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm hoping that they can actually pull this off. Obviously, we'll know a lot more when we actually see the main three actually cast out there, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. But for now, it looks like, boys and girls, we might have found our Dumbledore, because as you can see over here from the headline from thatparkplace.com, Harry Potter HBO series eyes John Lithgow to play Dumbledore, would be first American to take a major role in the Potter franchise. And that is very true. And this is something that I was talking about with my friends over there at the Midweek Hump last night over on the Shagsworth channel. Go check that out. Go subscribe to his stuff if you haven't already. We have a really good time on Wednesday nights over there. But Quarter Black Garrett was there. It was a real good time. But either way, we were talking about this last night, and it was one of the things. I was like, I'm okay with this. Like, if he can pull off a proper British accent and make it believable, I really do think this might end up actually being okay. But we're gonna get into. I'll give you my opinion on the full breakdown and all this kind of stuff. And actually, I think he can pull this off. And we're getting into all the juicy details of this article and see exactly where this information comes from. Because for once, boys and girls, this is a pretty reliable source, and most of the time, these kind of people don't put stuff out there unless it is already certain. So we're gonna check out this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all of the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, let us know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. What do you think of John Lithgow as Dumbledore? Do you think he can actually pull this off? Do you think he will still be very recognizable under all of that makeup, the beard, and everything else? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. And also, we just crossed 1,600. We're on our way to 1,700, so I would really appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Montanero. A bombshell from Deadline reveals that John Lithgow is in final negotiations to portray Albus Dumbledore in HBO's upcoming Harry Potter series. Lithgow, a six-time Emmy winner known for his roles in The Crown and Dexter, would become the first American actor to play a major role in the Harry Potter series. This is a huge departure from J.K. Rowling's long-standing preference for an all-British cast. Maybe she knows Lithgow. Maybe she really likes him. Maybe she's heard him pull off an English accent. I don't know. As long as he doesn't yell at Harry or get angry in any situation out there, I'll be good with his Dumbledore. I really will. It's not going to take much to keep me happy after the abomination that was the last movies. The Harry Potter film series notably featured only one American actor, Eleanor Columbus, daughter of director Chris Columbus, who played Susan Bones in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Despite her on-screen appearance, she was given no speaking lines to maintain the franchise's British authenticity. Lithgow's potential casting therefore marks a major break from precedent and has sparked passionate debate among fans. And they've got a picture of it down here too, but there was a clip we watched of him. Lithgow played, I'm having a brain fart here, Winston Churchill. There we go. Wasn't coming to my mind, but Lithgow played Winston Churchill. We watched a clip of it. It was a Netflix series out there, I think The Crown or something like that. And I think he actually did a pretty good job. I think he actually did pull off a pretty good Winston Churchill. The accent, Lithgow's just got such a very specific resonance in his voice that even when he's trying to pull off a British accent, it still sounds like John Lithgow. And that's the only thing I'm worried about. And if that's something that'll even be noticeable once you put him under the makeup and all that kind of stuff. And it's not a bad thing. I think his voice is great. It's just very, very distinct, even when he's trying to play an accent. So we'll see what happens. Also, at the end of the day, these negotiations could still fall through. It's just, if Deadline's reporting it, it sounds like it's probably going to be pretty much a done deal. But we'll have to wait and see what happens on all of that kind of stuff as well. Lithgow's potential casting, therefore, marks a major break from precedent and has sparked passionate debate among fans. Americans were cast in the Wizarding World Fantastic Beasts movies, as the first film primarily takes place in the United States. But while those take place within some canonical film universe, they're not considered part of the Harry Potter series. The series, held by showrunner Francis Gardner and directed by Mark Malloy, promises a decade-long, faithful, so 10 seasons. 10 seasons. Are we getting two? 10 seasons, please. A decade long? Actually, what am I thinking about? They'll probably be like 2 years. No, do not stop the 2 years between seasons. You need, at minimum, a season a year. At most, 18 months, but you need a season every single year. Stop doing these giant gaps between these things. If it's good, greenlight it and get people working on it. Stop this nonsense. HBO, while declining to confirm casting specifics, assured that they are committed to a faithful adaptation, which is something we see on the marketing about this as that's the reason why I've been cautiously optimistic about this, right? I know it comes from like the big Hollywood studios and stuff like that, but the marketing around this has been so much different. It's just been nothing but faithful adaptation. We want to do a faithful adaptation. We want to do a faithful adaptation, which is completely and totally different. It's a complete and total 180 that we've heard from Hollywood over the last decade because it's all been like, well, we're going to reimagine it. You know, we're going to change some things. We're going to make it in our own image because we want to be like God. We want to be like the Most High. And it always ends up failing and flopping. Don't believe me? Rings of Power, Wheel of Time, Star Wars, anybody? So yeah, at least they're saying the right things. As to whether or not they can actually pull this off, well, at least they're saying the right things. Lithgow's credentials, which include an Emmy for his portrayal of Winston Churchill on The Crown, has earned him praise for his acting prowess, but his American nationality has polarized Potter purists. Some argue, however, that his talent and experience with British roles makes him a fitting choice, while others see the casting as a disruption of the series' distinctly British character. Lithgow is also 79 years old, which means that he'll be in his 90s should he live to see the end of the series, which, I mean, it does work out for Harry. It does work out for Albus Dumbledore. Albus Dumbledore is supposed to be extremely old. He's supposed to come off as ancient until he starts moving around and starts whipping out his wand, and then it's a whole different situation. Don't take that the wrong way, you perverts. But like literally, like that's kind of the thing. He comes to life as soon as like something has to go, but he's always portrayed in the books as kind of a withered old man. Not like withered per se, but just like his voice is kind of husky and stuff like that. But either way, that besides the point. It's one of them situations where, I mean, come on. We know the regeneration treatments that Hollywood's got access to, right? And if HBO really wants to keep this actor around, trust me, he's going to get those. All right, he would probably be doing just fine at 90. I mean, look at Shatner. Look how well he's doing. What's that guy, like 92 or something like that? Like, I mean, look how well he's getting up and getting around. Look at Trump. Like, there's no reason he probably wouldn't end up being okay with this kind of stuff. But needless to say, that's a completely and totally understandable issue with this. So the race, the circulating the race swap server Snape. I think that was just a rumor mill thing. I don't think that really ended up being. There's got a lot of other stuff out there. So some fans are divided, with some embracing the fresh interpretations and other fearing a departure from the book's essence. HBO's statement pledging a faithful adaptation has done little to quell the debates, leaving many to wonder how far the series will stray from Rowling's original vision. I'd tell you right now, if it does, it's going to go down in flames, just like Rings of Power did, just like all the rest of these series do. They need to respect the fans and do a good job. Right now, they're saying that. It's one of them situations where we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. But that's where we're at right now. I like the idea of John Lithgow as Dumbledore. I think he can pull it off. He's a big guy. He's very tall. You know what I mean? So he can kind of give you a little bit of an imposing force in those moments where Dumbledore needs to do that kind of thing. You know, if he can pull off the British accent very well. It's just, like I said, the one thing that a lot of people have kind of brought up, obviously the accent and stuff like that, but that like I said, well, like I brought it up earlier, you know, Lithgow has a very unique voice, right? And the real question is, are we going to be able to see Dumbledore come through that? But you know what? It's one of the things I think about anime, right? I think about anime, and I know they use a lot of the same voice actors for a lot of the dubs and stuff like that for the United States. And I remember watching One Piece, and I was like, wait a minute. That's one of the Dragon Ball Z characters, right? But the character stuck around for long enough, and now all I think about them is Zoro, right? Whereas I used to think about them as their Dragon Ball Z character. So I think the same kind of thing could be said for Lithgow, especially if he sells the character properly, right? If he understands the essence of Dumbledore and who he is and what his big concerns are, because Dumbledore's biggest concerns are always protecting Hogwarts, keeping them safe, keeping the kids safe, making sure they've got a good world to live in. So if you can keep that essence, if you can keep that spirit to Dumbledore, Lithgow's an incredible actor. I think he can totally pull this off. At the end of the day, we'll have to see if this ends up turning out to be true, but I, for one, am totally okay with this. And as for right now, I am cautiously optimistic about the Harry Potter series. No peeves, no peace, and Dumbledore doesn't get angry and restore Ron's heroism. You do all of those kind of things, HBO Max, and I promise you will make the fans very happy, and we will make your show probably the most successful in the modern era of history, if not the number one of all time, because Harry Potter fans deserve to be respected. And as we've always said before, you make the fans happy, and we'll make you rich.